Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 52 of Pokemon Horizon is titled High Wind Warning for Wattrel just dropped, and in this episode, Roy's Wattrel evolves. How? Let's talk about it. Continuing from last episode, our heroes are still in the wilds of Paldea, looking for their research subject. Lico's trying to take a video of a white squawkabilly, which are pretty rare, but failing to do so. Dot is trying to take video of Applin, but her Tinkatink is making it hard. Meanwhile, Roy's recording a Capsakid, and while doing so, his Fuecoco is bringing him berries so they can watch how the Capsakid eats. Seeing how easily Fuecoco is getting the berries now, especially with the use of Flame Charge, Roy's Wattrel tries to get berries too, but keeps getting one-upped by Fuecoco. Eventually, too much noise from his Pokemon causes the Capsakid to run away. Afterwards, Wattrel tries to fly to the tree to grab the berry, but strong wind pushes it away, and it looks dejected. At night, as they're eating, Roy explains to the others that Wattrel tends to give up quickly when the wind stops him, and he doesn't know what he can do to help it. At night, Roy wakes up to find out that his Wattrel isn't with him. He goes outside and eventually spots it behind a tree and sees that it's trying to train. He tries to cheer it up with his song, however, Wattrel isn't having it. Then all of a sudden, all of them hear a howling noise and get terrified. They see a giant imposing silhouette figure run towards them, and it jumps on Roy, except it turns out to be a Houndstone, and specifically, it's Ryme's Houndstone. She tells Roy that she heard his song to Wattrel and could see that he's passionate. She then raps to Wattrel about how you shouldn't run from your fears, you should face it. That's when the Capsakid from earlier shows up again and starts running through the forest. Although this time, it's strange because Capsakids don't normally show up at nighttime. Ryme says that it's probably because there's a Pokemon in the forest that, quote, isn't of this world that's causing a bunch of Pokemon to be scared, and she's in charge of finding that Pokemon and trying to tame it. She also learns Roy's taking the school course, which might come back in the future based on the way that they had her react to it, and she tells Fuecoco to keep it going before disappearing. The next morning, Roy tells Lico and Dot about what he learned from Ryme regarding this mystery Pokemon. He also says that he recorded Capsakid at night, but his phone didn't record anything. Dot says that she might have to teach Lico and Roy how to record using their phones. They then once again split up to find their research. Lico once again fails to record much of the white squawkabilly, but this time this is due to her Pokemon making too much noise. Dot is too distracted taking dazzling videos of Quaxly instead of trying to find Pokemon, and Roy is looking for the Capsakid from earlier while Fuecoco is still getting berries for other Pokemon. When Wattrel once again tries to get berries from the tree, only for Fuecoco to easily run up it with Flame Charge, Wattrel gets annoyed and throws the berry back at Fuecoco. The two begin squabbling and Roy tries to get them to stop, but when he first blames Wattrel instead of Fuecoco, Wattrel heads off. Once again, Roy has to look for Wattrel when he hears the Capsakid from the previous day. It looks like it fell in the cliff below. Roy decides to go help it. Fuecoco's terrified when he's tiptoeing across a narrow cliff edge, and this is seemingly justified when part of the cliff falls off. Fuecoco's soul comes off on this scream. When Fuecoco screams because of this, Wattrel comes back to see what's going on. Roy then lends the hands towards Capsakid to grab it, but it bites him instead. When it throws capsaicin in Roy's mouth, it's shocked when Roy loves its flavor. Eventually, it trusts him enough to come over to him. However, Roy has to now figure out how he can bring it back up the cliff because he can't climb with one hand. That's when Roy's Wattrel decides it'll face its fear and do it. It dives to where Roy is and gets pushed around by a wind for quite a bit, but eventually it's able to grab Capsakid and fly to the top. During this time, by the way, Lico and Dot also arrive after Lico's Hatena sensed that Roy was doing something dangerous. Roy then begins climbing back up the cliff while Lico and Dot are terrified, but when the wind blows extremely hard, they seem justified as Roy falls off the cliff. Roy's Wattrel dives to save Roy and in the process evolves into a massive Kilowattrel. It flies in the air for a bit before bringing him down, and Roy says that he wants to write about this and hoped that Dot recorded it, but turns out Dot also forgot to record. A nice episode-long gag that concludes here. As the sun is setting, Fuecoco wants to and is excited to when he gets to fly on Kilowattrel's back, and Roy seems pleased. Before we end the episode, however, we get to see the eyes of the mysterious Pokemon that was scaring Capsakid at night and the Pokemon that Ryme was referring to, and that's where we end the episode. If you played Scarlet and Violet or looked at the next episode preview, then you probably know what Pokemon it is. I won't talk about it for this video since we don't know how it's going to affect the episode itself. However, for this episode, I enjoyed it. It felt very slice of life until the cliff bit at the end, and I'm glad that Wattrel evolved. I know that a lot of people were saying that they thought the evolution was a bit rushed because Wattrel hadn't done much, but honestly, all small bird-style Pokemon had this evolution in the anime because early bird stages Pokemon are really tough to do things with Roy getting a killer Wattrel now, similar to Freed, he can fly around, giving him more to do. He can almost be the scout of the group now. Things like that are hard to do with a smaller bird Pokemon, especially one whose story is that it struggles to fly, so I don't mind it. I also liked Ryme showing up here. The intro has all of the Paldean gym leaders in it, so I could see all of them showing up at one point or another in the season, and I really hope they do. I also want to know what the research for the other two will be, because I'm sure it's going to lead to more stuff. As for this episode's ending, I wonder what the setup here is for. Like, randomly having this two-parter for this mysterious Pokemon seems kinda strange. Is someone gonna catch it? Probably not, right? Because it's a super powerful Pokemon. So I'm curious as to where this is heading. Overall though, a fun episode that is seemingly leading to something intriguing. But what about you guys? What did you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, be sure to like, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TheRealPDGaming. And that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.